Hey everybody, it's Emily from ARG Schooling, and it's time for my wrap-up for Game of Thrones Episode 4. So, last night was Game of Thrones Episode 4 called Book of the Stranger, and it was amazing. This season has been damn near stellar as far as like really solid episodes go. There haven't really been that many filler scenes or episodes or anything where stuff like doesn't really happen. It's just been like one thing after another, and it's been really, really good. It's been really good. So I'm just gonna go through my list here of things I wanted to talk about. So let's start with the Stark reunion. Now, I think it's interesting to point out that Sansa and Jon did not really have anything to do with each other for their entire childhood. Sansa was very much her mother's daughter. She did not like Jon. He was just this thing that lived with them, and she was kind of, not disgusted by him, but just ambivalent. She didn't care. She didn't care about him. So, for them to have that reunion and have all that emotion behind it was sort of interesting to see. I really, really want Arya and Jon to meet up again, because I feel like that would be the thing that would push me to the edge. I was a little bit weepy at this reunion, but I think it would have been even more so had it been Arya, because like she really did love Jon Snow. So she comes to Castle Black at like the nick of time, just before he takes off, and she's going to turn things around a bit for him, I think. Jon has been ready to just give up. He's done. He doesn't care anymore. He knows, or he thinks he knows, that there's nothing on the other side, there's nothing to live for, it's just, this is it, and to him it isn't worth the fight anymore. And Sansa is going to help to turn that around, I think. I was excited to see her just so motivated. Like, she's done with this crap. She's been there, done that, and she's ready to take it back. The pink letter. Now, I was excited that they actually did this, because this is a book moment, except it's totally different. In fact, I'm going to read you the pink letter from the book, because it's just, there's a whole different scenario going on. In the books, at this point, when Jon receives the pink letter, he's not been stabbed yet. This is before the mutiny. Jon's not been stabbed yet. Sansa is nowhere near the north. She's still in the Vale with Littlefinger. And Mance Rayder's still alive and has been sent on a secret mission to Winterfell. And Ramsay is married to fake Arya, who is actually Jane Poole, the serving girl, or not the serving girl, but Sansa's friend that used to live at Winterfell. I forget how she's related to them, and I know it's like her father is a Castellan or something to do with something at Winterfell. And Jane Poole is her best friend and is always with her. And she's actually in season 1. They did have her character on the show, but I believe they killed her off when Ned died. So anyway, so she's the one that Ramsay marries, and they pass her off as Arya Stark, because they obviously can't find the real Arya. So anyway, so all the crap that happens to Sansa happens to fake Arya. And worse. I mean, I think her life was far more brutal than what Sansa had to endure. So this is the pink letter from the books. It says, "Your false king is dead, bastard. He and all his host were smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magic sword. Tell his red whore. Your false king's friends are dead. Their heads upon the walls of Winterfell. Come see them, bastard. Your false king lied. And so did you. You told the world you burned the king beyond the wall. Instead, you sent him to Winterfell to steal my bride from me. I will have my bride back. If you want Mance Rayder back, come and get him. I have him in a cage for all the north to see, proof of your lies. The cage is cold, but I have made him a warm cloak from the skins of the 6 whores who came with him to Winterfell. I want my bride back. I want the false king's queen. I want his daughter and his red witch. I want his wildling princess. I want his little prince, the wildling babe. And I want my reek. Send them to me, bastard, and I will not trouble you or your black crows. Keep them from me, and I will cut out your bastard's heart and eat it. Signed, Ramsay Bolton, true-born lord of Winterfell." So obviously there's a whole different scenario happening in the books. Oh, and also obviously the false king, that's Stannis. Stannis was sieged at Winterfell. And this appears to say that Stannis has been captured and killed. But all of that is speculation because none of it has actually proven true in the books. So obviously we don't know yet. In the show, of course, Stannis has been dead since last season. So the letter is obviously completely different for the TV show just to make it make sense. But the same idea is behind it. Ramsay wants Jon Snow to come out and fight him. And Ramsay is way overestimating himself. He believes that he has the bigger army, that he has all the power, but he is vastly underestimating what is actually going to happen. Osha. They killed off Osha, which was sad. I kind of liked her character a little bit. I think she's been underused. Although I think she was underused in the books too. I'm like, why is there not more Osha? She's so cool. She's so badass. I wanted a little more of her. I like that she tried to the last to play Ramsay, but it was too late. Ramsay was prepared for that. She did what she could. I love that line she did where she talked about how, do you eat them after you skin them? And even Ramsay was like, what? Why would I do that? So even Ramsay was taken aback by that one. Again, another sign of he is not really expecting the wildlings to be much trouble. Obviously he should be. I really want to see what's going to go down. I think, obviously, they're going to have the wildling army, which in itself is going to help them a lot, because wildlings are good fighters, and they have a giant. And I'm pretty sure that they're about to embark on a northern tour, where they're going to go ahead and rally up all the rest of the north on their side, because nobody likes Ramsay. Nobody. And if they know that Ramsay is threatening the remaining Starks, they're gonna fight. So Sansa's gonna make this happen. And you got Littlefinger sending all the Knights from the Vale, which that's awesome because the Knights of the Vale have not fought in a long time. I believe that the last time they went to battle was during Robert's Rebellion. So for that to be a thing, for the Knights of the Vale to come out, that's a big army, and that's gonna help quite a lot. I'm shipping Tormund and Brienne so hard right now. I think that was about the cutest thing I've ever seen. Tormund giving her the sexy look while he's eating his meat. It was just so hilariously, and she's just sort of like, what is up with this guy? I think it's hilarious. But I ship it. Obviously, show Jaime is not interested in Brienne in the way that she's interested in Jaime. So I want her and Tormund to get together. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that happen. I don't know if it will. I think it was just thrown in as kind of a jokey, lighthearted moment, but oh, so funny. So there's a lot going on in the north, and I'm really excited to see where it all goes. Okay, so let's move to King's Landing, the Tyrells, and the Tyrells versus the High Sparrow. I like that Marjorie is just super badass. Like, she is not putting up with any of this nonsense. She is the queen in every sense of the word, and she is not going to let this go. And she's not going to break for them. She is really strong, like, unbelievably so. She's been in prison longer than Cersei was, and she's still there. Cersei's been out for, we can assume, weeks, and Marjorie's still there, constantly being, you know, not tortured, but they're definitely not treating her well. She looks a mess, and she knows that her brother is broken. Like, I'm not sure that Loras can recover from this very well. I mean, he's done. He's ready to just do whatever he has to do to get out and make it stop. So we know that they must be torturing him. He looks beaten. And so they're mentally torturing him, they're physically torturing him, and he's ready to just give in. And obviously, I don't know if Cersei is being truthful in that they're going to make Marjorie do a walk of shame, or if she's just saying that to goad Olenna into rallying her troops. But I'd say there's probably a possibility that could be her atonement too. At this point, I'm pretty sure the only sin she's being held for is that she lied about her brother. to protect him. So I don't think her sins are as dire as Cersei's were. However, I don't know how the Seven are going to look at that. So there is the chance that they could make Marjorie do a walk of shame, and Olenna is not about to let that happen. So she's ready to go ahead and rally her troops and bring in her army, and the Tyrells have a huge army. So they're planning to bring in the Lannister forces, the Tyrell forces, into King's Landing and be like, hey, we're going to take you out. We're done with this nonsense. This is done. But, I don't know how that's going to go. So, I guess, I don't know. I think it's not going to go in their favor. In the Lannister and the Tyrell favor. I think that, they, again, are underestimating their foe. I think that's a theme, really, at least in this episode, is people in power overestimating themselves, thinking that they are better than somebody else just because they have always had the power. I mean, you saw it with Ramsay. He has all the power, he thinks, but it's not going to go his way. And the Tyrells and the Lannisters, again, they think they have all the power, but they are vastly underestimating the Faith Militant. That is a lot of men. And it's not just in King's Landing. The Faith Militant is all over Westeros. And they're rallying. So let's head over to Meereen, where I found this scene to be really interesting. Tyrion is going about things the way he would in Westeros, the way he would have seen his father go about them. You know, he is his father's son, and I think that he's learned quite a lot from Tywin, even though he would never admit that he's learned a lot from Tywin. But I think that that he's being really smart about this. He knows that you can't just abruptly end slavery, obviously, because that's what Dany tried to do, and we see that it did not go well for her. And you can't just make it happen overnight. It's not going to work. So he's willing to help it go about a slow way. You know, you have 7 years. In that time, you should be able to find a means of living without slaves. And then you will, at the end of the 7 years, it's done. Your time is up. And I want to say that the writers, about the episode, talked about how they used Abraham Lincoln as a model here, because Abraham Lincoln made an attempt to negotiate with the Southerners before the Civil War broke out and find a way to work with them to end slavery, and they wouldn't do it. And we got the Civil War. So I think that is where we are headed with Slaver's Bay, is that this is going to end up an all-out war. And in the books it does. In the books, they're already sieged with the good masters and the wise masters and all of that nonsense. They're all sieged around Meereen, and Dany is trapped inside, and it's a mess. And Dany is not really, she doesn't know how to handle it, because this is just not how she expected things to go. And I think Tyrion is going to try to stave that off the best he can, but like Missandei and Grey Worm said, you can't trust these men. They're not going to they're not going to give in to you. They're going to use you for their own betterment. So they obviously don't really trust what Tyrion is doing. And they certainly don't trust the masters at all. So I believe that we are looking at the beginnings of a giant war in Slaver's Bay. And then I want to go to the Greyjoys, and they are getting ready for their King's Moot, and Theon shows up, and Yara is just like so mad at him, and I don't blame her. She lost men trying to rescue him, and he wouldn't come. He didn't want to be rescued. He was too afraid, and he is obviously still very broken. I don't think Theon's ever going to fully recover from what he went through. I mean, we're talking years and years of torture. In the books, he's like, he doesn't even look like himself anymore. He has white hair. He looks like an old man, and he's just completely and utterly broken. Even though he's trying to regain some part of himself, and he did a little bit, he did earn some redemption with rescuing Sansa, but And she says, "Are you here to try to take my throne?" And obviously not. I mean, I don't see Theon ever regaining enough composure and any amount of himself where he can actually do that. I don't think he could ever rule anyone. He could barely manage himself. So I think he was being truthful that, no, Yara, I don't want to be the king. I want to help you be the queen. And I think that that could be awesome. I'd love to see him find a way to help her, and in that kind of start regaining parts of himself back. But I still have this feeling that he's going to be doing some kind of big sacrificial thing to save somebody, and that'll be the end of him. I definitely think he's not going to survive the series. Let's head over to Dany, because we have to talk about that. So, first, Daario and Jorah on their mission. Daario sees Jorah's grayscale. I don't know if Daario's going to keep that a secret. And can I just say, this was the first time that I didn't hate Daario. I don't like show Daario at all. At all. I'm sure that the actor is a fabulous person, and maybe he's great in other things, but he is just not embodying any part of Daario Naharis from the books at all. He's just too normal. He's too Westerosi. Like, book Daario is just super sleazy, and he's just crazy looking. He's got gold teeth, he's got a blue beard and gold, and he's just ridiculous looking. And this Daario has just been way too, like, I am a knight, and I can do all these things, and I don't know, I'm not buying it at all. And so, I don't know, I think the original guy they had to play Daario was far more, I mean, still too pretty, but far closer to book Daario. So I'm not a big fan of this, but in this episode, him just like constantly ragging on Jorah was just the best Daario moment for me. The closest to book Daario they've ever gone. So I loved that. I loved him just being like, you couldn't handle her in bed, and, you know, his favorite sword, the dagger with the naked woman on it. That was just super Daario for me. I loved that. So I'm interested to see if Daario keeps this a secret, or if he tells Dany, oh, by the way, Jorah's got grayscale, don't touch him. Like, well, I think Jorah would probably have a fit. Let's talk about Dany Unburnt, because this was cool and interesting to see, but totally wrong. Like, it bothered me quite a lot, and it took away from the moment for me. Because, okay, first of all, Dany is not fireproof. She's a human, and humans are not fireproof. So, the only reason Dany was able to survive the fire when her dragons hatched was because Mirri Maz Duur was doing blood magic. She had blood magic, it made her fireproof, basically, and it helped to hatch the dragons. That's it. Blood magic. Now, for her to think she's actually fireproof, that's not a thing. That no Targaryen was fireproof. I mean, there was the whole tragedy at Summerhall, where a whole bunch of Targaryens burned to death. It's just, they're not. They will burn. Dany is not some sorceress. She had no blood magic this time. That should not have worked. So it took away from the moment for me. But I understand why they did it. Because they wanted her to have a moment where she goes from no power to all the power in one fell swoop. And I get it. I do. I understand that that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to show her taking her power back without dragons, because I think that was the key. She needed to prove to herself that she can do it without all those extra things. She doesn't need an army. She doesn't need to have her dragon. She can just take the power whenever she wants it, which I get that. But she's not fireproof. I guess show Dany is, for whatever reason. They're gonna go there. We're going full magic now. But yeah, book Dany could not have pulled that off, because she didn't use blood magic, and she would have burned to death with the Dothraki calls. I don't know. But on the bright side, Dany now has a massive army at her beck and call, because obviously they think she's some kind of goddess, and they will follow her. She has the entire Dothraki horde. So, I don't know what she's going to do with that. Is she going to march back to Meereen with them and take everything down because Dothraki will fight for her. I mean, that does at least double her army. Double it or triple it, I don't know. I'm not really sure. They never give numbers. They're not very specific. But obviously she didn't have enough men to fight off all of Slaver's Bay before, so I guess she's going to use the Dothraki to do that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Predictions. I kind of already went over all of this, but I think we got civil war brewing in Slaver's Bay. We've got the battle for Winterfell. That's totally happening very soon, I think. I think probably the end of the season. I expect that to happen. I would say maybe episodes 8 and 9 are definitely going to be Battle for Winterfell. And we've got the Kingsmoot happening. I think Yara actually stands a pretty good chance against Euron, but I don't know how it's going to go because they haven't really done a whole lot with Euron yet, and I don't know how they're going to use him. He's kind of a Ramsay-like character where he's definitely crazy and capable of some really bad things, so I don't know what he'll do to win against Yara. But I want to see how that plays out. But what is their role in the greater scheme of things? I don't know. Because Yara's said it, we're not good on land. We can't do anything on land. We can only fight at sea. So where are they going to take that? I don't know. I'm not sure. Dany is going to march back, I think, to Meereen. She's going to use her Dothraki horde against Slaver's Bay. And I think overall, that Dothraki horde is going to head back to Westeros with her. That is her army, and she's going to use it to her full extent, because I think she knows overall that her real place is not Meereen, it's in Westeros. But wouldn't that be interesting if she became queen of Westeros and Essos? I kind of see that that's where they're trying to go with this, but I don't know. I'm not sure Dany is quite enough of a leader to handle that. That's a lot of people. A lot of people and places to rule. I don't know. But as of now, she is queen of the Dothraki again, or the main Khaleesi of the Dothraki. They no longer have khals. They're all dead. She is the queen of Meereen, and I think she's going to go ahead and this is when the iron is hot. It's ready to strike. She's ready to go take the Iron Throne. So I see a lot of war happening. I see the war in the north happening. I see the war in King's Landing happening. I see the war in Meereen. There's just a lot of war happening. And I think it's all going to culminate into one giant battle when the others get over the wall. Because they will. They will get through the wall. That's happening. So another thing I wanted to point out in my predictions, and I've talked about this before, is that they keep alluding to Circe's trial. And you know Circe is going to ask for trial by combat. And they keep bringing up things about grave diggers and graves and the graveyard. And I keep hearing it come up over and over again. And I'm just like, grave digger, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm excited to see if they really do Clegane Bowl. I think they will, because I think that's one of those theories that is just too good not to happen. I mean, how amazing would that be? Another underestimation on the part of Cersei Lannister. She is not expecting something like that to happen. She is pretty sure of herself. I would love to see that. Okay, so that is my review of Season 6, Episode 4, The Book of the Stranger. Did you watch? What did you think of the episode? Let's have a discussion down in the comments and we can talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!